I'm Liz Graciela, and your Skyline Scoops. That's right. Now. Good morning, Raiders. It's a new week, so let's start it off by getting right into the announcements. The library will be closed this week due to testing. However, if you have work you need to do, room 204 will be open to students all week. Don't forget, if you're interested in attending the North Texas Teen Book Festival with the Skyline Library Club on March 7th, the Library Club will have information on March 3rd in the library for the festival. Raiders who are going to Washington, D.C. and New York this spring break, please see Ms. Neely on Thursday after school at 8:38 for important information. And now here's Taylor for Senior of the Week.
Hi, my name is Taylor, and I'll be telling you the Seniors of the Week. The Seniors of the Week is Rebecca Cammey for Outstanding Leadership in Senate, Senior Class Vice President, FFA, NHS, UT Southwestern Intern, SMU Upward Bound, and top 20% of her class. Rebecca describes herself as disciplined, determined, and humble. Cammy's best advice is do not procrastinate. It becomes a habit. From Ms. Phillip, Rebecca is passionate, kind, supportive, and a super advocate of her peers. She is fearless and can conquer anything. And then we have Uriah Lampkin. Uriah exhibits gratitude, respect, integrity, and tenacity in his everyday role as Yearbook Editor-in-Chief. He is grateful and honored to hold the title Yearbook Editor-in-Chief and holds it by never missing a deadline. He is respectful to his sponsor and staff and demands their respect in return. He leads with an air of mutual respect. Uriah goes above and beyond to complete a major task, even if it means staying late or reaching out to help a struggling staff member with an assignment. He demonstrates acts of kindness each day. While reaching out to help a classmate with an assignment, Uriah carries major responsibilities such as actively pursuing a leading role in his photography cluster, yearbook class, and part-time job. In addition to leading roles in extracurricular activities, Lampkin takes several AP classes and dual credit classes. And that's our Seniors for the week. See you next week, Raiders.
Let's check out what today's weather is.
Good morning, Skyline Raiders. I'm Clarissa here with your weather for today, Monday, February 24th. It's a partly sunny day with a high of 60 and a low of 39. And tomorrow will be a partly sunny day with a high of 53 and a low of 35. That's all we have for today, Raiders. Check in next time from our weather with Clarissa.
Let's see today's lunch.
For Monday's lunch, we have steak fingers with mac and cheese, PB&J Smart Box, smashed potatoes, roasted carrots, peaches, and a frozen fruit cup treat.
Here's your A segment.
Hi, my name is Dr. Adam Sines. I'm a licensed psychologist and a licensed specialist in school psychology. The name of my book is The Power of a Teacher, and the subtitle is The Wellness Makeover You Need to Maximize Your Impact in the Classroom and Beyond. I started The Power of the Teacher. I had no idea that this event would be the beginning of this book, but what happened was I was doing a staff development for an elementary school in Central Texas, and there was a teacher in the audience. They say there's one in every crowd. Well, there was one in this crowd, and you didn't have to be Sigmund Freud to figure out that she just was not into what I was teaching. So finally, after about a couple of hours of this and her giving me the body language, she raises her hand and she had a question. And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I see you have a question." And she asked, "Dr. Sines, have you ever taught in a classroom?" And I said, "Well, I'm in the classroom all the time. When I consult with teachers, I observe children. So yeah, I'm in the classroom a lot." And she said, "Nope, that's not what I asked. I want to know, have you ever taught in a classroom?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I have. I taught psychology at Texas A&M, and I taught statistics at the University of Houston." And she said, I'm going to ask you one more time. Listen to my question. Have you ever taught in a K through 12 public school before in your life? I said, no, I haven't. And, so she kind of smiled and crossed her arms like, yeah, I got you. That's the end of that. And I just blew her off. I thought, she's the Eeyore on campus. She's just that grumpy, miserable person that, you give them $100 and they're mad now because they have to go to the bank and get change for it. Didn't pay much attention, but the more I started thinking about her question after the workshop, later that day, later that week, I thought it was a fair question. What if I am that guy? What if I'm Dr. Adam Saenz, who lives in an ivory tower, who has no real clue about what happens in classrooms, and all of what I teach is really irrelevant. So what I did was I said, I'm not about to go back to school and change my major and be a teacher, but I can substitute. My first day as a substitute was just ugly, and I remember being in the classroom as a sub and the kids coming in, and my panic just went through the roof. And everything I knew about behavior management, about how to manage students and how to run a class, it all went out the window because I was so freaked out. And managed to make it through the day, and got home and had a long drink. And I was thinking about, after I did my day as a substitute teacher, thinking back to this question, am I just this irrelevant academic? And, I thought about it and I thought, no, the content of what I teach, I wouldn't change. I think it's still relevant. But what I realized, and this may be insulting to teachers who do this every day, was teaching is an incredibly difficult job. And I don't think if you've never taught in a classroom before, I just don't think you can understand it. I certainly, I heard teachers talk about what a hard job it was, but until I did it, I didn't realize how difficult it was. I, as a psychologist, can offer insight and information and input to teachers. If teachers aren't healthy, if they're not taking care of themselves at a deep level, broadly taking care of themselves, then the knowledge that I impart or any other knowledge is going to be irrelevant, because when we're overwhelmed, we just don't access that information. We don't act on what we know. The dilemma for teachers, from my perspective, is that on the one hand, you have teachers who have a passion about making a difference in kids' lives. What they are given is a classroom with a wide range of kids. All of that occurs for the classroom teacher in a broad educational situation or context in which they have very little control. So you have a classroom teacher that wants to make a difference, that's doing the best they can with the students in their classroom, but all of that is occurring in a broad educational system in which they really have very little power. In 2007, a study was conducted that showed that the average teacher is teaching for only 5 years. And the study went on to identify what were the variables that were contributing to that. Why were teachers only teaching for 5 years and then moving on? And what it boiled down to was there was this gap between the teacher's desire to reach kids and the teachers feeling isolated and not empowered, or feeling that they didn't have any control in the educational process. And there was just this gap. Teachers couldn't pull those two things together to make sense. And so that's the primary reason that most teachers are leaving the classroom after 5 years. The idea of the power of a teacher is to help that teacher be well, to focus their attention on the variables that they can control. So the average classroom teacher can't control federal legislation. You can't control state standards. You can't even control district policy. You can't even control kids, really, for that matter, even in a classroom. But what you can control, what I as a classroom teacher can control, is my own self. The 50-item inventory is an assessment of 5 core areas of our lives. So we have the physical, emotional, occupational, financial, and spiritual areas. It's an opportunity for teachers to go through the inventory and basically assess themselves. And the result of that inventory are graphed on a wheel, a 5-spoke wheel, and it just gives us a visual picture of what our wheel looks like, our life wheel looks like. I think the reason that the inventory is so powerful is that it lets us see, in a nutshell, what is the wheel on which our lives are riding. And if that wheel looks bumpy or skewed or messed up, we can rest assured that that's kind of the ride that we're experiencing through life. And the goal is to find balance, to make that wheel look like a wheel and not like a square, as it sometimes does when we get out of balance. so that we can really impact what we're doing professionally. And so after the teachers graph their data on the wheel and get a sense of what their wheel looks like, it can be overwhelming when we see that physically we're just not taking care of ourselves, or financially we don't look nearly as healthy as we should. And that's overwhelming, and that creates stress. So what we've also done in the book is added what we call a change organizer. What parts of your life need attention the most, and how would you prioritize those? So if physical is your weak point, which parts of physical? Is it nutrition? Is it exercise? Is it sleep? What is it? And so we want to provide the teachers in the book not just a snapshot of what areas of weakness are, but to give them some support and structure and guidance to set goals and not to feel overwhelmed by change that needs to happen. What I love about the workshops are that the workshops are a tool to build community on a campus. And it's so exciting to me as a psychologist, because what I understand at a deep level is that we function best when we're in a situation in which we feel community with those that we're working with. So regardless of what's going on with federal legislation or state legislation or district standards or anything like that, if I have a sense of bond and community with the teachers that I'm teaching with at a campus level, those things are less important. Those stressors are less important because there's a sense of unity and a sense of synergy. So what I love about the workshops are that they give teachers a chance to pull together and to do that. So after the workshops, teachers understand each other as, oh, you're a resource on my campus. You're someone that's going to help me find balance in my life. And I'm a resource to you. I'm going to help you find balance. I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to offer you support. And the healthier we become, the better off we're all going to be. So I love that teachers come together not in a format other than we need to vent or we're frustrated or let's air some grievances, but it's a chance for them to come together in a positive framework and be a positive part of each other's lives.
That's all for today, readers. Be sure to catch up on all things Skyline by following us at Skyline Broadcasting. To make sure you never miss an episode of your Skyline Scoop, you can sign up to receive more broadcasts by texting SK1 to 81010 or visit us at skylinebroadcasting.org. I'm Liz Graciela with everyone here from Skyline News. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.